Don't ask me about baseball.
All right, we are live. 6 minutes late, but we're live. We usually go at 8 o'clock, see what happens when we try to go early, but that's all right. We're going to give you a full show. We got a lot to talk about. Buddy Songy in the house feeling a bit better. What more can we say? The LSU women win a national championship. Welcome home party yesterday. A big parade tomorrow night. We'll be there with TigerBait. Spring football practice this morning. We got a lot to talk about that, or a lot to talk about a little. And number one baseball currently right now with Nichols. It's 1-0. LSU leads at the top of the third. We'll keep abreast of that. So we're going early on a Tuesday night because of the parade tomorrow night. Nichols isn't going to stop us from doing a show this week. So welcome in, buddy.
A surreal weekend. Good to see you. By the way, Mike has really worked hard. You know, when Kim Mulkey was hired, I told you this last week, but he had this sense and this knack that something was going to happen special. And as we know, LSU women had never won a Final Four game. Bob Starkey had been in every one of those games. Kim Mulkey, not only did she come back in year one, turn around a team that only won 9 games, but she got the former players involved. And she went into the portal and got Jasmine Carson and obviously Angel Reese, and we can go on and on. LaDasia Williams, on and on and on. Brought in Flau'jae. But, Mike, it's surreal. In year 2, they lifted up the nets and beat Iowa, and one of the greatest female shooters that anybody has ever seen, whether you want to call her a Steph Curry or whatever. Caitlin Clark is incredibly good. Oh, by the way, just a little stats. They're playing Virginia Tech. They're down 10. Here's what LSU has scored the last 5 quarters in baskets this year. 29-13. They beat Virginia Tech by 16 in the fourth quarter. They win by 7. They post 27 against Iowa in quarter 1, lead 27-22. 32 points in the second quarter. Mike, I think you could play that tape over and over again, watch 50 years. You're never going to see LSU score 32 in the second quarter and have 59 at half. Agreed?
And have 3 starters on the bench.
Then they had 16 in the third quarter and another 27 points in the fourth quarter. 4 of the last 5 quarters, 27 points or more. And you just say, what a surreal moment. I had to give those stats because nobody's been mentioning that. They won this thing with offense where most people thought they'd win with defense and rebounding.
You know, I was listening to Sikkim 365. Of course, that's the national show that the guys at Baylor's do, and they do a great job. I think they're have like 30,000 YouTube subscribers. Smoke and those guys do a national show now. They're not just Baylor-centric. And they brought up some good points today, and I think it applies to what I've seen. Is the women's game about to turn the corner in popularity? You've got these NIL girls now. You've got Flau'jae, who had already made a name for herself on America's Got Talent. Kim Mulkey now on a bigger stage at LSU because in what that does, and the sequins on the jackets and everything. Talking smack. A lot of people don't like it, but that's what's in the men's game. It was a tough ticket, sold out, record numbers of people viewing. And I can tell you, just from my experience and looking at the numbers on our YouTube channel, I mean, it's staggering what the women's game is done. And I was asked to be on Jacksonville radio today. They kept me on for 30 minutes talking about LSU women's basketball in Florida.
That's like a Buddy interview, 30 minutes.
Yeah. And I'm like, do they really want to talk about women? I mean, and seriously, they were gung-ho about it. And so I don't know if this is just new. Is it a flash in the pan? Do they turn the corner and this becomes a bigger deal? Certainly it's big to everybody here. But we can talk about that. I did see right off the bat, and welcome everybody in the show. Hit that like button if you're enjoying the show. Fire3449, I saw his comment before we went live, and I wanted to get it up because it was something we were talking about because we've probably brought this up almost every week. Hey, Mike, you asked the question several times, who is going to win a national title first, Mulkey or Jay Johnson? If Johnson wins in Omaha, then they would have won it in the same school semester. Well, it wouldn't be fair. If Jay Johnson wins the national title, You would have to say they won at the same time. It wouldn't be fair to say that Mulkey did. But, I mean, it can happen.
Hey, back to your earlier comment. This thing, I'm going to give you a crazy analogy, folks. The atmosphere, the pop, the buzz, the fire, the getting lit in the women's game was like what happens when a lady meets Mike Scarborough for the first time. Wow, there's some pop. No. The men's final last night was such an after effect. It was like when somebody meets me for the first time. I thought you
I
were
didn't even watch it last night.
Right now, 9.9 average million, 12.6 at the apex. They have a contract coming up in 1 year. Charlie Baker's a new president of the NCAA. They are going to go separate and have their own tournament, not in the umbrella with the men's tournament and TV rights. They're going to bring in big money. Oh, by the way, before the tournament, Angel Reese had 450,000 followers. You know what she's got now?
It's close to almost 1 million, right?
1.1 million.
Okay.
So the good thing about talking about this is that, as we've mentioned, stars in the WNBA make 200 to 225. That's the top stars. These girls are making 500K plus, and so I enjoyed it more. I enjoyed the 4 teams more. I enjoyed everything about it. The men's was an after effect and a dud. Kudos to Danny Hurley.
But if LSU was there, you would enjoy it.
The men?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but I mean that's like
but here
that's a dream.
But here's the thing. With having run a website for as many years as I have, and the analytics that we have, we use Google Analytics. Our YouTube channel, of course, is owned by Google. You see everything. You see the times of day, the hour, the breakdown, male versus female, the age demographics, where it's being viewed. We had viewers from Spain and Europe. You see it all. And I'm telling you, the LSU tournament run in the women's tournament the last 2-3 weeks is no different than any of the views that we saw in the hits that we've seen during a football season. The great year last year with Brian Kelly, even parts of 2019, the numbers are the same. That's how much Mulkey's got people excited. And not only that, it doesn't have to just be the views and stuff, the interest. It doesn't have to just have to be LSU fans. She's pulling people from all over the country just because they want to see what that crazy lady's going to say, or what she's going to wear, or if she's going to sing a country song. She's a draw. And so the guys at Baylor, I'm listening to them, it's Sickums 365, and they're admitting that they think that her being in the LSU market is bigger for her than she could ever do in Waco. And they're right.
By the way, I just want to say hello to that South Carolina fan that has been lighting us up all year long. And I'm not going to say I told you so, you told you so. Both Mike and I thought Elite Eight. I said it all.
Yeah, but
along.
what did I say last Wednesday night? You didn't want to talk about it. Oh, Buddy he thinks we're going to jinx everything.
Well,
but what I said all along the way, a path was getting cleared, wasn't it?
Yeah.
The dominoes were falling and making it where it looked like an easier path.
Indiana getting beat by Miami, and then obviously the big one, Iowa beating South Carolina. Because let's be honest, South Carolina would have had a physical and psychological advantage over LSU. LSU had nothing to lose, but back to the numbers. 9 million average last year, Carolina and UConn. 4.6 million. They more than doubled the average.
And what he's saying is the reason why.
Well, first of all, is it on 3-letter network, ABC. First time, big time network station, and on other stations. Bird and Tarasi were doing something, commentary and all this. This blew up.
Now, that 9.9, does that include that? Are they combining them?
I don't know. I just saw the early Nielsen's, but I'll tell you this.
That doesn't matter, though.
Nobody talked about the men's game. Of course, UConn was a higher seed at a 4, but the women.
So maybe Angel Reese doing this was good.
and look, she's more than doubled her followers, but there are some things that we're going to get into that I wish were a little bit different, and I'm going to come right out and say it. The technical foul on Caitlin Clark was a tragedy. It was atrocious.
Yep.
The other thing that I've been preaching, and
it was on both sides. The referee crew were terrible.
But the reason it was so egregious was this. She had 3. When you get a technical in college, it counts as a personal, so it gave her 4. I've been saying this, and I hope it happens before I'm laid in the coffin, but can we give the men and women 6 fouls? I know that the NBA plays 48 minutes, so they get an extra foul, 6 fouls. But seriously, do you think everybody went over there to see that game called that way? And this is surreal to have Carson Poa, who we liked all year, hit 2 threes. Carson hit 5, didn't miss a shot. The point I'm trying to say is you don't go for the referees.
Well,
give them 6.
I was trying to figure out why are they calling it so tight. And then when you really watch in the way that they were getting physical and the elbows that were being thrown, I tweeted out and probably went over some people said, depending on their age, that, number 25, what was her name? But Clark, I said her elbows should be insured by Lloyd's of London.
Yeah.
I mean, in the way she hooks to get open
but they all do. Angel Reese has been called for technicals and flagrant 1 fouls. They all do. But in answer to that question, there is no doubt this year really took a big jump. And, I think it's not getting any smaller. I think Mulkey now at the top. Oh, by the way, one other little tidbit for the South Carolina buddy. We're all in jest. I'm going to just give you one stat that I want you to chew on before you go to bed tonight. Going into the season, Kim Mulkey had 3 natties, and Dawn Staley had 2. Most every person that I know
figured to be tied up now.
3-3. Guess what?
Now it's doubled.
She's doubled it up. 4-2.
And Kim says, if I don't win a national championship next year, I don't want to hear y'all see y'all write negative stories. But I hate to tell her, I haven't seen it on our message boards, or maybe you guys have seen it on Twitter, but I mean, when you start handicapping next year, when the first poll comes out, where's LSU going to be? Top 2, 3?
Too early. But yeah, they'll be up in the top, but too early. You don't know who's going to lead.
But we thought next year would be the first year that you could really start to say they could do it.
No doubt, no doubt.
And now that she's done this with this team, and you got Michaela Williams and Del Rosario, and I watched that McDonald's All-American game. In fact, ESPN asked me to use my footage and said they'd give me credit during that game. They used it, and I didn't see any credit of Michaela Williams.
The other thing I was going to tell the Carolina guy, okay, 4-2, we're just throwing him a little ball buster. They're going to try to get a piece of LSU with baseball this weekend. Thursday, Friday, Saturday again, 6, 6, and 11. Weather could play a factor, but they're going to try. They're really good this year in baseball, and Kentucky, the following team here in the box next weekend, also really good.
Exit question. If I call ESPN or I email ESPN and ask them if I have permission to use some of their footage, you think they'll let me?
Nobody has permission anymore. Hey, the other thing I had a problem with?
I'll get a copyright strike on YouTube if I did that.
You may disagree with me. I think that Kim Mulkey and all of us that have passed 50, 55, 60, our mamas and daddy taught us one thing. Son, look that man in the eye and shake his hand. I did not like LSU not shaking hands with South Carolina. That's just me, personal. You can call me an old, whatever you want. I think that after you play that hard against somebody, you ought to at least have the decency to say congratulations, hell of a game. Kim Mulkey and their staff did that. They did all that. But I did not see the teams interact. And occasionally Clark fouled. But if she had 6, it wasn't a factor because, as we know, LSU sat a lot. But, man, that could have taken away that game if LSU's bench didn't come through in the second quarter.
Absolutely. Blaine Smith, Ganidi, Mike, and Buddy, spend the money and go get Bo Davis. He's not going to be cheap. Obviously, you got to offer him more money. Someone brought up the other day the fact that Texas doesn't have state income tax, so you have to offset for that. We'll see how it is. I have heard that there's some squawking about how much it would take to get him.
Well, he's making $1 million at Texas, and then you throw in the tax break. So we're already talking about what, 1.3 or 4. Probably going to take 1.5 to get him, and we'll see.
Yeah. Chance Babin asked Mike how can the basketball national championship help recruiting with other sports? It helps everything. You can't buy that marketing. You can't buy the exposure that you get. What did we see for years with Alabama and Nick Saban and what he built there? And what their enrollment went up to is now compared to where it was when he arrived there, and the exposure that it gets, and the SAT scores of the average student that gets admitted to Alabama. The same thing happens at LSU, can happen everywhere when that happens. It's all about marketing, and if LSU had to buy the airtime that they got on ABC and ESPN all week, you couldn't afford it.
Are you kidding me? Let's say a girl that watches wants to come play for Kim Mulkey or go to school at LSU. She's got a star brother who's a baseball player, a football player. Jay Johnson, Brian Kelly, Matt McMahon, all of them all in, tweeting at the arenas, following them. Right now it's a big happy family with the coaches, and Scott Woodward's got to be feeling pretty good.
Absolutely. And this team had fun. They had the swagger. You can take issue with this or that, but this team, no doubt, is fun. Again, Flau'jae Johnson, a girl that's been on the stage with Simon Cowell in front of her and all that. And, I mean, this stuff is just Livy Dunn. I mean, it's LSU is a brand and is the sexy school. It's just a hot entity. You had that had the bottom fall out after during COVID and the Orgeron year or two that really took that 2019 down to size a bit, but it's back. It's back in a hurry. Man, remember the marketing for that. The 2019 championship, and then COVID hit. I mean, they were running LSU highlights around the clock because we didn't even think we were going to have a football season that year in 20.
Yeah.
Yeah, what about men's basketball now? Brian Lazar just posted a recruiting update on our message board about a prospect from Wofford that they're in the mix for.
Look, Matt McMahon will tell you that coaches put more pressure on themselves than anything on the outside. But I think it's obvious that, Mike, he has got to retain 4 or 5 studs from this team. He's got to go heavy transfer portal. Corey Chess and the other kid, the 6'3" guard coming in. Corey played well in that All-Star game. Kudos to him. He's got a chance to come right in. But transfer portal, man, look, you've seen it with Jay Johnson, number 1 recruits, number 1 transfer portal. He's got to have those kind of
but the guys he's got to get to respectable, is it going to be there?
And it's going to take dollars. It's going to take NIL, and it's going to take a lot of work. But look, we'll see. I think he's got 2 years before the heat really gets hot.
Todd, LSU winning the national championship. Why were there only 3 players on the post interview? That's the maximum that the NCAA allows. All that stuff's cookie cutter. They have defined rules about the way they do things. I think sometimes if you hear during the live feed of those press conferences, you'll hear media, you have 10 more minutes in the locker room. They'll either give 2 or 3. You can either have 2 or 3 on the platform with the coach, and then during that same time period, media who are credentialed will be in the locker room interviewing the other players. That's why you saw Flau'jae, Kateri Poole, and others on our video. We were there in the locker room covering for TigerBait because that's who they sent out Alexis and Angel and of course Carson. Man, what Carson
Luther,
did.
I remember, 6 weeks ago, 8 weeks ago, Mike had to make me a little more intelligent and explain what Luther was all about. Alexis Morris, 6 for 6 in the 4th quarter. What a great way to finish her career. And, Mike, I'm telling you, we can't stop talking about it. Baseball is on the horizon, as we said this weekend on the road. Softball's doing great things. Shout out to Haley Bryant, 9.975 on the final event in SEC gymnastics in Denver. They tie Michigan because of her 9.975. They won on a tiebreaker. They're going to Fort Worth a week from Thursday. Haley Bryant, shout out to you. All those gymnasts. Jay Clark, look, them gymnastic fans, they spicy now. They've been tearing Jay up all year, so kudos to them.
All right, Dana, are you trying to get blocked? He says, Mike, do you still believe fans won't go to women's basketball games? I recall you didn't think so when Kim Mulkey was hired. Asking for a friend. Is he trolling?
Yeah, he's trolling.
All right.
I will say this. I'm not going to troll anybody. But I do distinctly remember.
I've got football fan friends of mine who are making fun of me because of how much. Look, I'm serious. There's national media guys, like well-known people, who are, like, see what I'm posting. Like, man, aren't you going? They, like somebody that's like the guy nationally in a particular sport says, "Man, you sure are gung ho about women's basketball," because he's seen everything I'm posting. Like,
I'll just say this: I'm not trolling, but somebody came into the chat last week, and as we know, there was a conflict. And he said, I won't have any problem on Friday night because women's basketball is unwatchable. I'll leave it at that.
Yeah.
Hey, they could play 100 times again, Mike. They'd never score 102 in a game, and Kim Mulkey would probably admit that.
I mean, when did we see an offensive output like that? And then when you factor in the starters on the bench in period 2, I mean,
most points ever.
You thought, and you're not the only one that thought Alexis Moore should have been the MVP.
Well, I think...
and you don't win that game without Jasmine Carson.
Yeah, well, look, if you go through the whole thing...
And Terry Poole, who's, a lot of people get look at the tournament she had.
Hey, I want to take more, but I'm going to tell...
You're about to have a Mia Culpa on
I'm going
Poole?
to tell a funny story about Mike and I with Terry Poole, but I want to take more. But we got a funny story.
Go with it. Go ahead and tell the story.
Look, folks, Kateri Poole started playing, and she was a little bit out of shape. I should know. I know all about being out of shape. And so I'm talking to Mike, and I'm going like, oh, she couldn't hit a shot. She was a step slow on defense. But she is a baller. She's from frickin' New York. She's played with the guys in the Sandlot, and she's tough as nails. Got a bigger body. But all of a sudden, so I'm texting him and other people going like, what's Poole doing getting so many minutes? And Mike says, calm down, buddy boy. You'll find out the message. Anyway, she comes on and on and on. Look, when Kateri Poole hit that 3 to make the lead 18, that's when Kim Mulkey lost it. What an incredible turnaround. Defense, shape, leadership, assist. Every time in the last 3 or 4 games, Poole would do something, Mike would send me the text, Pooh! And so we had a lot of fun with that. Alexis Morris was up and down, saved her best for last. Angel Reese, my goodness, she is going to be a millionaire if she's not already. Flaugier, already a millionaire. Carson will never forget that. And then you go with like Samaya Smith, who practiced at her high school, getting ready for this, and LaDasia Williams. I don't think anybody talks enough about her.
I'm assuming the weather in the afternoon or early evening tomorrow night is going to be like it's been the last few days, which has been beautiful. I haven't looked at the weather. I don't want to look and jinx it. Maybe I just did. But that parade's going to be fun tomorrow night. And we're going to have multiple cameras out there filming it. We'll be in the PMAC, and we'll have all of it, a big video package of the whole thing for you on YouTube after it's all done. I'm not going to go live because I think the quality sucks. You never know if you're going to get a good signal.
Yeah.
So rather than live, I'm going to film it in 4K and edit it up and have it all for you in a real nice package at the end of the night for those of you that don't get to go. All right, let me scroll down. Let me do this first, guys. It's we're here each and every week because of the fine folks at Pride Roofing. And let's go ahead and hear from Mike and Alex.
Hey, it's Michael and Alex again with Pride Roofing. Here we grow again. Did your roof get to Niger and Hurricane Ida?
The insurance company is playing game with you.
Don't forget, August 29th is your 2-year anniversary to make a claim.
Your neighbor got new roof, why not you?
Pay your deductible. We're fortified, certified.
We do your roof, you came on the Pride umbrella, bet on Pride.
855
Pride
16.
I love it. Alex flipping that poker chip at the screen, and it turns into animation at the end. It's a great new commercial from Mike Faraday and Alex Martinez. And, of course, we're proud of them being the official roofing company of TigerBait.com. Talked to Mike earlier today, got a brand new acquisition, a cement company. It's amazing what they're doing and the growth of a Louisiana company right in Albany, Louisiana. And call them at 855-PRIDE-16. Tell them you heard about them on TigerBait. Commercial or residential roofs, any type, they'll take care of you. And if you say TigerBait, they're going to pay for you to have TigerBait Premium free for 1 year.
We talked about it when we mentioned this with Brian Kelly, and we told people he's going to bring back the pride in LSU football, the way he does it. And now you talk about pride. This is what's going on right now with Kim Mulkey and women's basketball. All those great fans, and they have that pride back. Folks, our Baton Rouge office on Government Street, Jorge Martinez, 275-2041. Mike talks about acquired crown metals, and the metal roofing business is totally crazy. Now with the concrete company, the roofs, all we ask is that you give them an opportunity. We don't spend every 30 minutes on TV in Baton Rouge. But Mike and I try to get the word out. Mike's done a fantastic job. We've sent some people over there. They will sharpen the pencil. They will be there early. You will respect the way they do their job. They're gone, especially with daylight savings now. They're going way before dark. And as always, you will take great pride in the job they do. Give them an opportunity outside of the Baton Rouge calling area, of course, 855-PRIDE-16. But they care, good people. There's no reason for you not to give them the opportunity next time you need a free roofing inspection or to do business with a great roofing company.
Absolutely. Fire 3449 says, hit the like button there, everybody. Absolutely. Thanks for that. Dane Bergeron agrees with me. Alexis Moore should have been the MVP. And Todd Davis says, please give a shout out to gymnastics. He just did that. Noah Abity, any news on LSU spring football? Posted a spring report this morning, and since you bring it up, and kind of what we were talking about earlier, it's because they are so thin with offensive linemen, and you're spotty at running back. You've got numerous starters that are rehabilitating after having off-season surgery to clean up shoulders and ankles and everything else. They're not scrimmaging. They can do some situational work here and there. I talked to Michael Bonnet this morning about the spring game. What are they going to do? They're going to do something, but whatever they do, they can't do for long. You can't have a true ones versus twos. You don't have a full number 2 offensive line to get that done. So, and I said it in jest, and I really think maybe it is an option. I said, why don't y'all do what you got to do, and then the rest of the way have a flag football game. Buddy said, why don't they do 7-on-7? Or why don't they do the old Tiger ball stuff that Les Miles used to do at the end of practice? Do something. Make it some sort of exhibition. If you're going to have fans come and you got to fill time on the SEC network, do something. Do something unique. Make it an exhibition. Have some fun with it.
And you got recruits coming in, so you're not going to disband it. But I said 7-on-7.
I mean, some of that stuff sounds silly. We're throwing spaghetti against the wall, but in reality, you've got a 2-hour window that you've got to fill, and you can't do it with the roster you've got right now.
By the way, if you missed Mike Denbrock and Matt House today, Mike Denbrock is making a concerted effort for Jaden Daniels to see, recognize, and release the football without hesitation. It still is mind-boggling, almost as mind-boggling as Kim Mulkey winning the Natty in year 2. LSU won a couple games passing for 85 and 86 yards, respectively. That's not going to happen this year. I think Daniels is going to throw it. You mentioned it, and us doing great things, but they just don't have the bodies. And so I said 7-on-7. You said something similar.
Flag football, or maybe do like an NFL skills thing. I don't know. Then we can really have a Nussmeier versus Daniels deal and see who can throw balls through hoops, and I don't know.
We'll ask Brian
silly.
Kelly the question. Mike and I were talking about last year. You had a new coaching staff. You had all new players. Everybody was busting their tail. You brought in Jarek Bernard Converse and Mackay Garner, and you're thinking like, oh my gosh, these guys, can they play? Everybody was trying to prove how good they are. This year, everybody's just trying to get through it and not get hurt. About 40% of the team is not out there right now because of injuries and all this, and you still got transport portal date coming in. So, look, it's on the back burner, and rightfully so, in my opinion, after all the other stuff going on. You will find out what this football team is about when we start going to camp. Find out the June and July stories, who's looking good, who's looking big, what freshman's going to come in. We know there's some guys that are going to come in and play immediately. But if you're looking for big-time spicy tidbits for the spring, it's just hard to manufacture.
Yeah, that's why if you compare our practice reports to last spring and last fall, we've been interjecting baseball. We've been interjecting women's basketball. We've been throwing in some recruiting to fill those 10 to 12-minute post-practice reports. And by the way, check out the practice report I did this morning. I went out there and for that one, and on the front page of TigerBait, I've got all my film from this morning. I did enjoy seeing Frank Wilson out there showing recovering fumbles and rolling around on the ground and fussing at him for the right way to fall on a loose ball.
No more availability this week, but I will be out there with Mike next Tuesday morning.
American Patriot, great show, guys, with a super chat. Thank you, American Patriot, big time. One of our biggest supporters and is with us each and every week. Here we go. William Ellis, can't wait for Dawn Staley versus Kim Mulkey. That's going to be a tough ticket in Baton Rouge next, I'm assuming February.
And look, Carolina, they just had the All-Star game. Michaela Williams and the big girl, Del Rosario, I think. They played well, but Carolina's got good recruits here. And this is the irony of the officiating. After the semifinal with Iowa and South Carolina, Carolina was griping and complaining because of the way it was called. And now you got LSU and Iowa, everybody griping about the way it was called, especially Iowa. But I do think, and you probably agree, that the technical on Caitlin Clark, seeing that it goes as a personal foul as well, I thought that was should have used a little bit more discretion in that one.
What about that national title for a guy like Bob Starkey?
Well deserved, man. Well deserved. He is one of the best, and Kim will tell you he had the game plan. In case you didn't hear it, Caitlin Clark took Carolina to the hole and made – it's amazing, Mike. These girls, nobody talks about athleticism. They're all dribbling and one-handing these layoffs and scoop shots. They're incredibly talented compared to 10, 15, 20 years ago. But lo and behold, griping on the officials. And yet LSU, the game plan was, because LSU was bad about dribble, drive, penetration, and letting people do that. They got so much better. Game plan, Bob Starkey, Kim Mulkey, not letting her drive, because when you drive and you cut her off, she was dishing for easy layups for the bigs. Great game plan. Once again, couldn't do it.
And it's what Kim has done her whole career defensively.
But all those people on that staff certainly have a way they present themselves, the way they dress, and the way they do their job. And Kim Mulkey expects just as much from them as she does the players.
Yeah, and everybody knows the staff. You see them. They wear. She dresses the way she dresses. Kim does. You see Reedus on the bench having fun. They're all line dancing, and it's just It's been a fun year to follow, and she's got a heck of a staff. And so another question that I'll pose, and you guys can leave a comment, is: does this shorten her tenure at LSU, winning it this quick? Does this make her years at LSU shorter, or does it make her hungrier? To get a national champion that quickly, does it all of a sudden go from maybe a 7-year run to a 4-year deal, or is it? I tend to think Kim would be miserable if she wasn't coaching.
I give the parallel with Kim Mulkey to Nick Saban. They are very similar. They give you tough love. Skip Bertman, same thing. Skip Bertman will go to the mound and dog cuss a player. And guess what? You pissed him off so much. I'm gonna prove that guy wrong. Same thing with tough love. She told Angel Reese after the South Carolina game, we lost the game because you only rebounded 4 times. Angel mentioned it a bunch. This is what I like. Kelly's tough love, Jay Johnson's tough love. And in this world of sensitive young athletes, you've got to have a psychology degree to know which one you got to pat on the back and which one you can punch in the arm and kick in the butt.
Well, look at these personalities.
Yeah.
You would think these would be the girls that wouldn't want to play for a coach like Mulkey.
They all love
they're standing in line to play for her.
Yeah.
They want that.
Yeah.
I wish he would do some interviews talking about Bob Starkey. He's done them. He does them.
Jacques did a great
Jacques did a really good one. Jacques talk, And I tell you what, I'm going to reach out to him, and I'm going to do one. Give me a little bit of time. I'll get him. All right, let me scroll up and get some of these guys. Give me a second. Todd Davis calling out Shark. Said it was Kenny Haynes that actually said that women's basketball was unwatchable on the show last week. Well, I think he was talking about that last Sunday night show, the last Sunday night game. What a difference a week makes, huh? How bad the shooting was on last Sunday night's game compared to Sunday's national championship game. That's two different teams.
That's why I gave the 5 different quarters, 29, 27, 32, 16, 27. 4 of the last 5 quarters scored 27 points. They could not throw it in the ocean. He probably watched LSU.
Well, Kim agreed with Shark.
Yeah.
She told everybody to turn it off.
Yeah. Shark knows his
stuff.
Of course,
I don't think ESPN was happy that she did that. But
sure.
William Ellis, Alexis Morris, and others did a good job harassing. Caitlin did a very, very good job. Carson, Poa Smith, we hadn't talked about Poa. She hit a good 3.
2 of them.
Yep, extended the lead and gave Iowa a very hard mountain to climb without fatigue. It was just something to watch, and all the LSU fans that spent the big bucks to get tickets, it was worth every nickel to them.
A lot of fans went. By the way, Iowa on the final game, what I heard, about 70-30 Iowa to LSU fans. That all being said, look, we're still talking about a lot of stuff, but the question that was posed earlier I thought was a great one. Is this going to, A, enhance the national brand, and B, help other sports recruit? And there's just no. This is one of the things you got to like about LSU. Now, look, Pat Henry and Nick Saban got cross-haired, and they had some tete-a-tetes, and, there was a shot putter that wanted to do track, and Saban and Henry didn't exactly fry fish. But now everybody is trying to get along, and so there's no doubt this is going to help football, this is going to help baseball, this is going to help softball, all of those sports.
They should have fried fish because Marcus Spears was always fishing in Saban's pond.
Yeah. The big swagoo's got to be excited about what happened. And that was the other great thing, Mike, to see all the – Devin White, they showed a picture of him watching the game. I mean, he was like you and me. We don't know why it captivated us, but it did. And what's that tote board reading with Kim Mulkey in the interview right now? 200 and how many thousand?
Her let me see real quick.
Post-game interview was 250K or something.
Ooh, this is an old one. Let me refresh on this. 229,000. Kim Mulkey views her post game on our channel. 229,000.
And it's continuing to
and it's still adding like 2,000 or 3,000 an hour. It's insane. It's the biggest video on our channel. It blew past Brian Kelly's Alabama post game Monday morning. Or midday Monday. That was number 1. All of it was big. The Iowa coach is big on her channel. She's got like 85,000 and growing. Hawaii, Michigan, all those coaches. People were watching all that stuff. Kenny Haynes, Mike, I really need you to send a copy of that baseball schedule. That is all.
You gotta love Kenny. You gotta love Snake.
He sent that in a super chat.
Yeah.
It's 5-1, bottom of the 4th, Kenny. LSU leading Nichols.
6, 6, and 11, Thursday, Friday, Saturday at Carolina. First 2 on the digital network. The Saturday game at 11 a.m. on the SEC network. Nobody wants to play on Easter Sunday, Mike.
Yep. Let's see. Dane says that Spears Swagoo was wearing his LSU jacket on ESPN today.
Hey, I'll just tell a quick story about Marcus. You remember when they won the national championship in 2003, Marcus had to pick 6 on the Heisman Trophy winner, who had 40 touchdowns and only 6 INTs going into that game. And lo and behold, we come back, Mike, and it's the year after, 2004. And so I'm asking Saban, about repeating and what kind of team he had. And I mean, he got into me and said, damn it, I got all these guys out of shape. Marcus came back about 10 pounds heavy. They all came back heavy. And the point of the story is, Mike, how do you handle success? John Brady said.
I remember all that. He didn't.
He was pissed.
He didn't enjoy 2004.
But how much success is not how much success you can have. It's how much you can handle. John Brady said that. I think it's reality. And Kim Mulkey's going to come back hungry. And you asked the question if this is going to shorten her. I think it's going to be health related, just like Nick Saban. She loves what she's doing. She's got so many people in place. She doesn't have to do the grinding and the dirty work.
I don't think she has to work as hard as she had to.
No, she's got all.
She's got a fantastic staff. Now, I think Reedus is a hot commodity. She's got a lot of hot commodities on her staff. She lost her number one assistant to Central Florida last year. We'll see. We'll see what the offseason has. But I don't think Starkey's going anywhere.
No.
You can keep Gary Reedus happy and keep him around because the girls and the recruits love him.
Yeah.
He's got a big personality. You see him. You know who he is. You see him. Happy, approachable, and he along with Mulkey is going to get anybody they want in the country.
Well,
he can get them in the door. So not only do you have the number one recruiting class, I wonder what they could have in the transfer portal if they wanted it. I think the list of all conference selections from across the country that would hit the portal if they knew they could have a spot on LSU's Kim Mulkey's roster, they'd come in a heartbit.
I don't think Caitlin Clark. I've seen some people say, "Go get Caitlin Clark." She's Iowa through and through. She's not leaving. Georgia Amore is the point guard that Lex Luthor did a great job on as well from Virginia Tech. And a lot of people kind of thought the way they talked and all that, everybody's talking, maybe they'd try to get her, although I think the big girl.
Yeah, but her coach is beloved. The coach at.
But Liz Kitt, the big girl said she's coming back, so she's not. But if you get a point guard and a shooting guard and another big and all the transfer portal, it's going to be incredible. Look. This was special, and now she's going to build on it. She is not going to this is going to make her more motivated, if that's even possible.
Mustang pitchers. Iowa's assistant coach said they didn't expect bench players like Jasmine Carson to get hot. Well, exactly. Why would you think that she would? I mean, she hasn't had a game like that in a long time, ever.
Well, she had 7 threes in a regular season game.
When was that?
That was this year. It was about a month ago. But she's been. Oh no, her and Flaugier hadn't been able to throw it in the ocean the last 2-3 weeks.
Carson averaged 2 points a game, and suddenly she gets 21. Well, you don't win that game without her. I mean, there's a lot of things you don't win that game without, but you're sitting there when you got Angel and them on the bench, and you're like, can they just get to halftime without it being too bad, where they can get back in there and make it happen? And then to do what they did and be 17 at the half.
I think she averaged 8 points a game. She did have some big games, but she had struggled as of late, like Flaugier. How about Flaugier hitting the first 3? Another great coaching moment. 3 quick turnovers, 2 by Flaugier and 1 by Kateri Poole. Kim Mulkey stops at 90 seconds in the game. I thought that they made a lot of great plays. And once again, South Carolina, LSU, would they have the guts to schedule each other next year in the regular season? I'm talking about Iowa and LSU. The problem is I don't think either team would come.
Yeah, I think her December schedule is going to be certainly ramped up and be much better than it was. But I just wonder if she's going to get to the point where maybe you and I keep saying I'm going to do it, and some of you guys watching probably might know. And go back and see, did she ever do home and homes with UConn? Did she ever do home and homes with Stanford? Did she do those kind of marquee games during the season? Were they in December? Did she do anything special in January, February like that? I don't know.
Yeah.
I think, and if she didn't, I wonder if it's because maybe they just didn't want to go to Waco. But the fact that it's LSU and the SEC, you can probably an ESPN might be trying to force and make a game like that happen.
Well, and the elephant in the room that I got to bring up right now, and of course it's been hit with me redundantly since they won the championship is that, look, you're adding Sue Gunner's name to the court. What are you going to do now that Kim Mulkey's won a natty? And what are you going to do when she wins 2 or 3 more? Now, nobody's assuming she.
Well, we've already decided that. We're putting her face on the roof.
Okay.
I said that on a show a couple of months ago, and when I got off, one of the guys on Twitter did a render of it with Mulkey's head on the roof of the PMAC. Let's see. All right. 7-1 in the bottom of the 4th. There you go. Thanks, Dane, for the score update. Do you think Staley knew last year when she talked crap about Kim that the balance of power would switch this soon? Chance, I can tell you this, matter of factly, when the rumors were circulating that Kim Mulkey was a real possibility to take the job at LSU, I've got friends in the South Carolina Gamecock media that ran into her, and she was nervous. She goes, "You think that's going to happen?" Like, she was like, yeah, not so easy anymore.
Well, look, Carolina is not going to go away, and of course, Coach Staley did not have any problems defending the way they play. I didn't like some of her vernacular and some of her descriptions of her own team and the precipitation and look, there's so many things that we got into, and I don't do into the social media thing, and you can talk about Burrow in the ring and Angel Reese and all that other stuff. Everybody knows this is one of the reasons why the women are growing. They're talking trash. They're making 33-footers.
What about Alexis Morris doing the couch picture like Burrow?
And she's saying before the game, Iowa, don't disrespect us. We shoot it better than Carolina. But are you kidding? That's going to be a scout.
But Alexis Morris, she does that, but she did have a lot of respect for.
She backed it up. She backed it up.
Katie.
Oh, there's no doubt. She had a lot of respect for Maury, but that's going to be a scalper's market ticket, and I think you need to get Snake and Tiger Shark 2 tickets for LSU Carolina next year. Get it done, Gordon. I mean, Mike.
There you go. There you go. Do you think that Ole Miss women's basketball will also be the hunt next year? I really like their coach. They were really good. Kim was saying that they were underrated. You saw what they did, how far they went. That's who LSU beat out from Michaela Williams, was Ole Miss. Mm-hmm. I think Ole Miss was her clear number 2. Michaela made multiple trips to Ole Miss. So, all right, guys, I want to talk about, of course, one of our biggest sponsors, and we're happy to have them be a part of TigerBait, and that's Alumni Hall. And you want to show your LSU Tiger pride, Alumni Hall is your ultimate shopping experience, the best and largest selection of apparel for the whole family, and they've got national championship gear. They've got a ton of it. If you go to the front page of TigerBait right now, they came out with a new panoramic print of the arena of the American Airlines Center at the end of the game when LSU won the national championship. That is a must-have collectible for your office, your game room, whatever. It's a beautiful piece. It's linked on the front page of TigerBait right now. They've got those. They've got every T-shirt, cap, coffee mugs, all the national championship gear right there at Perkins Row, Alumni Hall. It's in Nike Golf, Champion, Columbia, Peter Myler, Southern Tide hats, Yeti gifts and accessories. LSU students, faculty, and military receive 10% off in-store every day, and you can earn cash back with their Hall Pass rewards. Alumni Hall, located in Perkins Row, or anytime at alumnihall.com. Alumni Hall, where Tiger fans shop. Beautiful store. Go by and see them, and please, please tell them you heard about them on tigerbait.com.
By the way, quick 30 seconds on LSU baseball. Got to figure out who's going to be your third starter. Thatcher Hurd did not get anybody out in the Saturday game. Of course, it was kind of an after effect. They had won the series, won the first 2 games. Everybody was content and fat and happy after the women winning on Friday night, but let them down. Didn't have a good game, but 2 out of 3 every weekend will get the job done. Who's going to be your third starter? There's rumors about Chase Shores possibly having some injuries. We talked about it on numerous occasions. That's the one thing that we think can stop LSU. But how about this lefty, man? Griffin Herring, this lefty's coming in here. Freshman from South Lake, Texas. 6'2", Diet Coke short of 200, throwing 95, controls. But man, Skeens, Ty Floyd, and you get your third starter, and then finish up with Garrett Edwards and others. This is a team that's going to win 20-plus games in the SEC, I think.
Yeah.
Got to get that third starter on the weekend, though, because Thatcher Hurd has just not been doing it.
Alexis Morris declared for the NFL for the WNBA draft today. Yes, she did. All right, let's scroll through here real quick and see. Guys, if you enjoyed the show, please hit that like button. If you're not already a subscriber to our YouTube channel, hit that and hit that notification bell. We're loading tons of content onto YouTube. And also, too, we really want you to be a member of TigerBait.com. $1, you can try us out. You get all our premium content. We're covering football recruiting, baseball, basketball recruiting. We've got all it around the clock. Like I said, Brian Lazar just posted something on our message board about men's basketball recruiting. Go to TigerBait.com. I'm on the message boards there day and night, mingling, answering questions. And we want you to be a part of our TigerBait community. Anything you want to add?
Just an incredible run here with LSU women's basketball. Skip, by the way, was fantastic. We know 5 championships in 10 years. And he got to Omaha quickly, but it took him a little while to win it. Saban, of course, did some great things and got to the SEC championship in year 2. And obviously national championship in year 4. But Kim Mulkey in year 2, man, when you start thinking after she's done, Bertman, Saban, Mulkey, Mike, these are all Hall of Fame coaches. Kim Mulkey could literally win 3 more, 4 more championships and have 7 like Saban's got right now. We'll talk with more spring
I'll tell you
football.
this. I think with Brian Kelly's record, he's probably, even without a national championship, I think he's a Hall of Fame college football coach. He's a college football Hall of Famer. But if he wins one, he's Hall of Famer. And I think Jay Johnson's going to get more than one when it's all said and done. And he's going to be a Hall of Famer.
And I was going to say, most people around Alabama think if Saban wins another one, because of NIL and this thing becoming more pro-oriented with all the money and all the stuff you have to do, they think he may go to TV if they win one more. But look, Brian Kelly, you know he's got to be fired up, licking his chops, knowing the offensive lineman he's gotten from this state just the last couple of years. Tight end they're loading up on. Still got to get that running back that can take it to the house. Quarterback is set up for years, doing great jobs. I mean, this is a hell of a time to be a Tiger fan, and I think we told people 2023 had a chance to be special. We never dreamed it would be this special, this quick. And let's continue the momentum. Hope everybody has an Easter, a great Easter. Enjoy it with your family. And I know Mike is very appreciative of all of the incredible growth, and it's all because of you folks.
Absolutely. Thanks for tuning in, guys. Go to TigerBait, subscribe. We want to have you with us. And we got a lot coming your way on TigerBait.com. Thanks for tuning in. And it's 7-2 in the top of the 5th, LSU baseball over Nichols. And so we'll have that wrap up on TigerBait later on tonight. So, all right, good night. Thanks, buddy.